introduction. Okay, so I guess I should start with an introduction to the grocery store tour. Why we're here, what the goal is with this grocery store tour. I know having a family that eating healthy can be confusing. There's so many labels, there's so many things you have to understand. You want to feed your family healthy, you want to eat yourself healthy, but you want to do it on a budget. You want to make sure your dollars are being well spent, and you're also wanting to just understand what you're buying and just kind of just break it all down very simply. So that's what I'm here to do. I want to take you through the grocery store section by section and just teach you everything I know so that you guys can get the best results possible with the program. You guys can see the fastest, best results possible when you're training with us at boot camp. But then when you couple that with the right nutrition, that's how you get things going the quickest. You know, because I always say fat loss is 80% nutrition. So we got to have this stuff dialed in. You know, I'm just going to share what I've seen people struggle with over the years. You know, again, 13 years in the industry, helped a lot of people. So I just start here because this is one of the places where a lot of people get confused, and that's your protein bars, protein shakes. Look how many there are with every label you can think of, from gluten-free, high protein, low carb, organic. What the heck am I going to buy? So really what it comes down to is, what is your goal? All right. So for most of us here, the goal is fat loss and health. All right. So I always say, and you'll see this is a common theme as we go through the store, that we're trying to get things to as close to their natural state as possible. All right, we want to have minimal processing, not a lot of artificial ingredients, and we want to have something our body can easily digest. And when we introduce artificial colors, artificial flavors, high fructose corn syrup, just all these unnatural things that our body doesn't know how to break down, it takes longer for the digestion to figure out what to do with it. It takes longer to assimilate it and distribute it into the bloodstream and use it. And it just really gives us all kinds of side effects. You get gassy, your stomach hurts, you get headaches, and you're wondering why. Well, I always say the first things you should go back and look at are the last couple meals you had. And probably that's going to be a strong indicator. You know, oh man, I had that thing that was, you know, highly processed, or I had that quick sugary drink at Starbucks, or whatever you had. 4 hours later, you get a headache, stomach problems. It's probably that. So as far as recommendations, again, based on goals, I would say for us here, trying to hit something high protein, minimally processed, I'm a big fan of Quest bars. They usually have 5 ingredients or less. They're very high protein. I also like that they're high in fiber. Okay, most people are lacking there. Why is fiber good? It fills you up. The more fiber you eat, you tend to eat less food. And that's why fruits and vegetables, that's one of the biggest things that are found in them, is fiber. So we don't want a protein bar that's high in sugar and low in protein. You're going to want to just eat another one right after. It's almost like a candy bar. The other one is the one bar. So here's the trick. And this is, again, we're going to dive into label reading. On here, it's called the one bar because it's 1 gram of sugar. All right, interesting, cool. 1 gram of sugar. But then I look right beneath it, and sugar alcohol has 11 grams. That works the same in your body as sugar does. It's just a liquid form. They've pretty much gamed the label system so that they can say, look at our protein bar. It's only 1 gram of sugar and 20 grams of protein. But they put sugar alcohol in it, and that is just, it acts in your body the same way. So that's the type of stuff that I want to open your guys' eyes up to as we go around the store. What other labels are tricking you? This is one right here. 1 gram of sugar? No, it's 12 grams of sugar and 21 grams of protein. So, I mean, don't get me wrong, the birthday cake one is delicious. But when am I getting this? When I go to the movies. Like, this is a treat. This is like, you know, hey, maybe your birthday. But this is not a everyday, like, protein bar that I would recommend. So, yeah, again, good thing there. The other thing, sometimes we can think organic means it's okay to eat it all you want. But in all reality, that's just talking about the ingredients where they were sourced. So organic is good. It's where I would say is like the gold standard when it comes to foods. But that doesn't mean immediately it's healthy. It just means it has cleaner ingredients, because they have organic candy bars that's still packed with sugar. So, like, let's look at this one here, because Cliff notoriously is pretty high in carbs. I want to say it's got 30 grams of sugar. So this one here, organic, 10 grams of sugar, 7 grams of protein. One of my rules, the protein always has to be higher than the carbs. So this one's 3 grams more of carbs than protein. So I'm not going to get it even though it's organic. All right. Again, Cliff bars tend to have a lot of sugar, a lot of carbs. 44 carbs, 20 grams of sugar. It's a Snickers bar. But Cliff, yeah, its numbers is really small, but because it's marketed as healthy, you see somebody climbing this healthy lifestyle we can immediately get drawn in and say, all right, I'm going to go buy that. That's a good choice for me and my kids. So unfortunately, in today's world, we gotta be food detectives, not let the label on the front because it has measuring tape or someone running immediately think, oh, it's healthy. What is it being made with? So the first thing I look at is macronutrients, the fat, the sugar, the protein, and then also the ingredients. I don't want to just see that the protein and the sugar's in the right place. I want to make sure it's good quality protein. Like, for example, soy protein. We don't really want soy in our body. It makes you inflamed. It gives you gut problems. Excessive soy in women has been proven to lead to breast cancer. Excessive soy in men starts to have them higher estrogen levels, which, is where they start to develop these and that type of stuff. So we don't want any high amounts of soy. We could get it in our diet if it's, a byproduct in another food, but we don't want to be actually going out and eating more soy and filling up our body, because trust me, it's hidden in lots of foods. You're eating it and you might not even know it. And so there's no sense in supplementing and giving yourself more soy to, speed up that process. Okay, so I'll keep going here. Larabars, I like, even though they're higher in carbs, they're all natural ingredients. If you flip it over, one thing I like, it says like cashews, dates, almond, like everything on there I recognize. That is something that you want to really start to understand when it comes to the ingredients. So if you want to look at that, this one's got 3. This is dates, peanuts, and sea salt. 3 ingredients. I know what they all look like, but I could go grab another one and have no idea what this stuff is. So like the zone, I'll go with the zone bar. So this one has probably, I would say, 40 to 50 ingredients, all of them with X's, Y's, and Z's that I'm not going to be able to pronounce. I don't want that in my body, all right? So yeah, this is something zinc oxide, ferrureous formate, peroxidide, hydroxychlorine, whatever. Like, what does that look like? Where does that come from? I don't know. It's processed. I don't want it in my body. This is your filter. Like, this is deciding what's coming out of this world and going into your body. We have to decide what's going to cross that gateway. But at the end of the day, you don't need a protein bar. Like, this is just assistance. Meals, I would want them 400 calories or higher. Snack is like 200, 250 calories or less. So you're exactly right. This is a snack. Let's say you work out and you can't go have a meal for 3-4 hours. Maybe you're gonna go sit in your car, you're commuting. I would grab an RX bar and have that right after to satiate you until you get to that 2-3 hour mark. You can have the actual meal. So yeah, there's that. And then, then again, we're looking over there at the shakes. As you guys know, we sell the organic protein powder because I love it. It's organic, it's clean. So I love their shakes. I love their bars. Anything Orgain makes is really good quality. And then you got other ones, but again, they got a lot of artificial stuff. So I'm not a big fan of them. I'd rather you go with something that's clean and has good sourced materials and ingredients in it. I think that's about it. I mean, protein powder, again, I've discussed that, and then I want you guys to pick something that's got good ingredients, doesn't have artificial flavors and sugars and sweeteners and all kinds of crud, which, again, the protein powder should be protein. It shouldn't have red 40 and, yellow coloring and all this other stuff. So we got whey protein, we got plant-based protein. Like that Orgain is brown rice, hemp, and chia seed protein blended together. Yeah, those are all great sources. So I think that is it, guys. We're going to move to everyone's favorite section, and that's the alcohol. So, all right, we're talking this, and I mean, this kind of could go together with liquid calories. So I want you guys to understand, any and all alcohols are sugar. It's just same display, but imagine a bunch of chocolate shakes up here, or imagine Gatorades, or imagine orange juice. They're all hitting your body the same. Our body doesn't know one sugar from the other. So we got to realize that all alcohol is sugar. So we got to, understand that when we have that, we're actually having like a chocolate shake from a fast food place. So we got to really just be particular about what we're putting in our body and try to pick the best sources. So there's 3 weight loss friendly alcohols. All right. The first one's light beer, and that's simply because it's got lower sugar than lower calories than full beer. So that's if you're a beer person. Next one is wine. All right. Red wine is the best. There's actually some nutrition in it. You hear about the Italians always having healthy heart, and they drink plenty of wine. So we want to, you know, go that route. One glass is kind of the serving size we're looking at there. You know, and then the final one is your plant-based liquor, and that's your tequila and vodka. And they're pretty low in calories. I want to say they're like 50 calories a shot. So mixing them with water, mixing them with you know, anything that's going to be lean, like a club soda, anything that's low in sugar, is going to be better. But again, the big trouble you get into with the alcohol is when we're doing the mixers, because we're now adding more syrup, more sugar to the alcohol that already has sugar. So that's your margaritas, daiquiris, sangrias, all that type of stuff. I know there was an article I read once where they had a big fishbowl margarita with like a Corona upside down in it, and they did a calorie test at 800 calories in it. So I mean, you can get into trouble with alcohol, especially because it's liquid and you don't really have anything hitting your system telling you that you're full, and you can just keep going at it with liquid calories. So again, it's the same as protein shakes, juices, sodas. They all fall in the same category, and that's liquid calories. All right, guys, so just carry on to the back. We're going to go to the meat section next. So we got hot dogs, we got your cold cuts for sandwiches, you got your salted meats here, your Lunchables, and then we got sausage and bacon. All right, so these are all your cold cuts processed meats. So in a perfect world, we're limiting how much of these things we're eating because they have nitrates, and if you are going to get it, we want to get a good like grass-fed or nitrate-free version. And really, what is the danger behind nitrates? Well, they just found that they become these organisms in your gut intestine, and they just start to break down the linings in your wall and all kinds of terrible things. You start getting leaky gut syndrome, you start getting all kinds of growths and bacterias, and it's because of the processing of what's in these meats, okay? So, you know, if I were to get one, you know, for my kiddos, because yes, they still want their, you know, turkey meats, I'm gonna try to find something like this says natural. For instance, I guess one thing I want to point out is that means absolutely nothing. I could put all natural on a bag of Skittles. I could put all natural on soda. I could put all natural on my turkey meat. But again, us being health-minded, we're going here and saying, oh, that's a better choice. And even notice the packaging. You know, they want to have a nice, like, brown, like, artisan type of a look on their packaging. They're not going to give it the rough, you know, I guess, budget type of packaging that you see here. And so that is something that they're using against you, knowing that you are health-minded. They'll just slap that word natural on there, put leaves and nature-style things on there, and oh man, they're sold. They're gonna buy it from me. But again, we gotta be food detectives and look for something that's better. So I'm looking, I wanna say, so right here, I like this. No artificial flavors, colors, no byproducts. I wanna say that was a pretty good brand. Here's another funny thing on a label. It says gluten-free. I didn't know meat had gluten in it. But any claim they could put on something to attract your eyes as a health-minded person. I was chuckling because one time I was in the candy aisle, all right, true confession, and they put gluten-free on red vines. Red vines are just sugar. There's never been gluten in them. But they know it's trendy. They know people are looking for that. And so they're going to slap it on anything because, I mean, they're not breaking any rules. It is gluten-free, but I never had it from the first point. So again, we have to kind of be educated about what to shop for. So gluten-free doesn't mean nothing. Natural doesn't mean anything. It's when they earn the label of the organic. It's actually an expensive process. It's a very intrusive process. People have to come in and see how they're operating and just pick apart everything, because it's like a badge of honor to be able to put that on there. And the more that we're spending our dollars on organic foods, the more that they're shifting to raise their food and to produce their food in that way. But just so you know, there's a process behind it. If I told them, hey, FDA, I want to put all natural, they'll say, go for it. There's no processing, there's no system that you have to go through to earn that. So that's kind of, you know, the difference that I just wanted to share with you guys. So we're gonna just keep moving on down this way, guys. Coming to our bacon. This is the American zone right here. America is bacon. So bacon everything. Bacon don't taste bad on anything, right? So yeah, basically same thing approach or same thing is applied here. We want to find something that is nitrate free, as natural as possible. Uncured is a good way to go as well. So like here we go, uncured, but again, all natural. So I would say that that's the best one I'm seeing on the, oh, this is the one I get. Here we go, Applegate. I love this. Um, Gluten-free again, bacon, uncured, no nitrates, no antibiotics. That's a good brand. They got cold cuts, which they didn't offer here, but that would be a good place to start. So again, just picking quality stuff. They've just seen that if you eat a lot of processed meats, deli, bacon, sausages, you just start to have a lot of digestion problems. You start to have clogged arteries. It's just very fatty meat. We want to try to go with leaner meat, all right? And that's where we're going down this way to the chickens and the fishes and the beef. So I would say that this is going to be a good choice for your chicken. This is the in-house Vaughn's organic brand, all right? You guys will see this on a lot of things as we go around. Every store has one, okay? Trying to remember, like Stater Brothers has Full Circle. They make a lot of organic things. It's escaping me at the moment. But yeah, this one's the in-house Vaughn's brand. So if I'm looking for chicken, I'm probably gonna go with these up here, all right? Why do we not want these other chickens that might be cheaper? They've been pumped with lots of antibiotics. They've been pumped with lots of, just hormones. They want to get that chicken to grow and get as big and plump as fast as possible so they can, get it to the slaughterhouse and get it to the store and turn it around into a profit. So speed is important to them, but it's not to us. We want an animal to be free to use its muscles because then it's lean, and then we're going to eat a lean animal. If you just put it in a cage and you pump it full of growth hormones, it's just standing there, what is it gaining? It's gaining fat. So now it's a fat animal, and it's usually sick. It's been sitting there defecating on itself. Sorry for getting crude, but it's the truth, and I just want you guys to know. So same thing with cows. They'll keep them in a stall, and they'll just pump them with growth hormones, make them get bigger and quicker, so they can get this over here as quickly as possible. But we don't want that. We would rather that they take their time, they raise them ethically, humanely, they have them walking around so that it's a lean animal, so that when we do eat it, it's got very little fat, all right? So, that's the reason we don't want to go with these. Antibiotics, growth hormones, this is raised ethically, this is cleaner, this is better for your families, all right? Calorie-wise, they're identical, if you look at the calories, but it's all about what's in that meat that I'm going to absorb into my body. More and more people are demanding it. The goal is one day to have all of them like that. But as long as people still buy these, they're not going to stop. So we have to vote with our dollars. Every time you buy something organic, you're telling that food manufacturer, this is what I want. But every time you buy this, you're telling them, this is what I want. So when they see enough dollars shift, they're going to change their factories, they're going to change their process, they're going to do everything they need to, because that's what we want as consumers. We're demanding it. So we're going to just keep on going down this way. All right, guys. So now we're talking beef, red meat, all right? So this is what I would recommend up here at the top. Grass-fed beef. Again, the cow's been fed grass. When it's not grass-fed, then that means it's in a stall being fed corn. And the cow are not meant to eat corn. Their body responds negatively to it. They get sick, so then they got to pump it with antibiotics, and then all types of terrible things happen. So that's pretty much what we're trying to do, is eat animals that were raised and fed what they were naturally meant to eat. So that's kind of what we're going for, is the grass-fed beef. So that's kind of what I want you guys to learn, is the different types of animals and eating them based on where they've been raised and what they've been fed is going to come down and pass on more nutrients to us. All right, we don't want sickly animals and sickly meats. So we want, those healthier chicken choices. We want these grass-fed beef, and then I'm going to take you over here and show you wild-caught fish. That's what we want. When you guys come over here and you're looking at fish, you want to look again, where was it brought from? So this, as you can see, they even put right here, farm fresh, color added. I don't want any color in my fish. I want it like it was right out of the sea. So you see it's a very light pink looking fish. Those are farm raised. Again, they feed them in troughs. They feed them corn, they feed them soy, all kinds of stuff. And then this is the end result. In fact, they have to color them a little because they even come out a little less pink than that. They're almost looking white. That's not how salmon's supposed to look. It's supposed to have a really dark texture. So again, I don't know if this is a wild caught, but it was a salmon portion that was the color that I'm looking for. And so we wanted to say wild caught on the labeling. That means it was yanked right out of the river, right out of the ocean, whatever. It's wild caught. And so there we're getting in its natural state. This is, again, if you raised fish in a pond in your backyard, you just fed them and then you ate those fish, they weren't in their natural habitat, they weren't eating their natural diet, and therefore they're not going to be as healthy for you as possible. So I was looking to see if they had wild caught options, but I'm not seeing. I'm seeing all farm raised, farm raised, farm raised. So that's no bueno. But sometimes I'll go to a store and right side by side they'll have the farm raised and the wild caught, and you can just see night and day the color. But the wild caught's much darker and richer. And so now we're talking coffee. So can you have coffee and still be healthy? Absolutely. All right. And I'm a big fan of coffee, and I think that again, if we do it the right way, then we can be just fine having coffee in our diet. Actually, coffee is low in calories. It's only 5 calories black, but most of us aren't cowboys and want to drink it black like that. We want a little flavoring. So let's start with the bean. I would prefer, again, it's organic. So here's a fairly priced organic coffee that, again, is the in-house brand, the organics from over here at Vaughn's. Here's a big bag of it for 15 bucks. I mean, this will last you a while. And I mean, I see this over here for 15 bucks and it's not organic. So I like seeing that organic food's becoming lower and lower cost. But that's what we're going for. Okay, here's another good organic brand. So they're popping up everywhere. So what we want to avoid is stuff that's not organic. Again, it all comes down to how it was made and how healthy it is for you. So now that we're here talking about this, we got to talk about coffee creamer, right? What are we going to put in it to make it taste good? Because we don't like to drink it black like a cowboy. So creamer is all sugar, okay? And so that's kind of where the enemy of coffee starts to add up. It's like potatoes. It's not what we start with. It's what we put on top of it and what we add into it that makes it unhealthy. So we want to use either a organic creamer, knowing it's still going to be sugar that we're putting in there. That's step one, is to get away from artificial creamers that got all kinds of colorings and flavorings. Go to an organic one, knowing it's still just as much sugar, but then we're trying to go into lower calorie or 0 calorie sweetener options. So what is that? So now they're making creamers where it's based off of almond milk and coconut milk. That'd be good. Or just putting regular almond milk and coconut milk in your coffee. Stevia, if you want that for sweetener. But then for me, you guys probably know the grass-fed butter and the organic coconut oil. It's called Bulletproof Coffee. And I know it sounds weird, but the reason that people do that and the reason it's popular is because it's 0 sugar, so it's just healthy fat in there. But you also, when the caffeine attaches to the fat molecules, it slowly releases throughout the day. So you're almost getting like a caffeine kick that's going to last 3 to 4, 5 hours. Rather, when you couple it with sugar, we get that sugar spike and that sugar crash right after, and then you're like, oh man, I need another cup of coffee that's already worn off. So that's some of the benefits. So yeah, I mean, I know it's not for everybody. It kind of, again, sounds freaky, but I say, hey, creamer is a dairy, it's in liquid form. Butter is a dairy, it's just in solid form. They're both dairy, but once you put it in there and blend it up, you don't taste the difference, and I think it's delicious. All right, so now we are talking about the bread. All right, so with bread, it's a sensitive subject. People are, I love my bread, Dustin, don't take it away. But hey, I'll tell you, we can absolutely have it. It's just one of those things, it's in moderation, all right? Because really, truthfully, when it comes down to it, the only problem with bread is there's not really any nutrition in it. As much as it's marketed to be healthy, as much as it's, great for you, I ask people all the time, what is the health benefit of bread? What are we getting in there? And they kind of shrug. Exactly. If you don't know, then I say, hey, what's in orange? Oh, vitamin C. What's in banana? Potassium. What's in bread? That's it. It's just there to kind of just hold. Yeah, it's there to hold all of our ingredients together while we eat it. Whether it's a burger, a sandwich, it's just like the holder. So what we want to avoid is, first off, releasing that mentality that wheat means it's better. White and wheat are almost identical. They don't really have any nutritional, wheat doesn't have a step up above white. Again, tell me what it is. There's nothing. It's nothing more than coloring. I know that it's based off of wheat flour or white flour, but nutritionally, you look at them side by side, same calories, same carbs, same everything. So wheat isn't exactly a step up. What we want to get is we want to get an organic bread, okay? And again, and I'm saying that so I know I'm wearing out its welcome. That's going to be step one, but it's still based off of wheat. So it's organic wheat, all right? So we're just taking things to one level. So we're going from whiter wheat bread to organic wheat bread. That's the next step. But after that, if we want to get rid of gluten, maybe it inflames us, maybe it messes up our digestion, we want to go to a sprouted grain bread. And so that's going to be your Ezekiel, all right? So, so that's Ezekiel right here. You know, you get it at health food stores, you get it, you know, I'm seeing it more and more at typical grocery stores, but they don't use white or wheat. They're going to use sprouted grains. And so it tastes good. They have multiple different flavors, and you're seeing more and more brands come out that are sprouted grain because they saw the success of Ezekiel. So, you know, there's also how many calories or how big is the bread. You know, you say you got the big fat slices here, or you can come up here and get the smaller ones. You know, again, that's a step in the right direction. I could stay within my same brand. You know, I love this stuff, Dave's Killer Bread. That's what I make my kids peanut butter and jelly on. But I could say, hey man, they're eating a lot of bread if I give them 2 slices of this. If I go with this, I'm slashing those calories in half and they're not eating as much bread. So yeah, you got to look at those things, the ingredients and then the size, and make the choice that's right for you. Alrighty guys, so this is the area that we want to be spending the majority of our money, is in the produce aisle, the veggies, the fruit. I always say that you should have so many plastic bags in your grocery cart that the person at the checkout stand is sweating bullets because they're not going to know if they're going to know all those codes. Like, that's how many plastic bags we want you guys to have. So what I wanted you guys to know, and I put it here on your printout, is that there's the different PLU codes tell you the source of the produce. So if it has a 4 at the beginning, you know, those little stickers on here, then that means it was raised with pesticides, and so we want to avoid it. Okay, we're looking at number 8 now. If it starts with an 8, that means it's a GMO produce, and if it has a 9, then that means it was organically raised. So that's what we're looking for, because that's, you know, the codes that they use. So we want to understand that. Most places these days label, hey, here's our organic stuff anyway, but it's just good to know that stuff. If you see like a random, you know, check or random stand somewhere with some produce on it, you want to be able to know what is that code.
So are those codes like nationwide?
Yeah, those are universal. So yeah, and then I mean, here's some organic stuff right here we could check, right? Yep, nines. So yeah. So now the question comes up, do I need to buy all my produce organic? I mean, that could get expensive. Absolutely not. So we want to go with things first, as far as like a tier system of where it's going to be best spent. We want to go into stuff that we're biting right into the skin, you know, like a strawberry, an apple, something you're just going to bite right into it. You don't want pesticides right on that skin that you're about to bite into. Now, things that have more of a shelling or a casing that protect it, like a banana, those you might not necessarily need to get organic because you're peeling it off and then you're eating what's in the inside. So those are the types of things you want to think about. So like all your berries, yes, I'd recommend getting them organic. You know, your apples, those things where you're just going to bite right into it. Still, even if you buy it organic, I would wash it off, you know, just for the sake of that. But that's kind of how you want to think about it. Thick cases, thick shells, thick rinds. We can go non-organic. It'll be okay. So that's, you know, the place where you want to start. The next best place is the things that you eat often. If you have an apple a day, you want those organic. If you buy a bunch of bananas and they sit on your shelf and some of them even go bad, again, we can get those non-organic. Or maybe potatoes, maybe you don't eat those very often. We can get those non-organic. So we can prioritize which produce to get based on how often we eat it and if we're going to bite right into it. Those are the things that I would think about most importantly. Okie doke. So we'll just take a quick little walk right over here. So you see up there at the top how it says organic, so that's like all organic produce right there. That's beautiful. That's how we want it. We want it as close to just being picked as possible. Like, I want dirt on my lettuce. I want worms on my my potatoes, like that. It was so close to being pulled out of the ground. So just, this is something I shared before and I want to share with you guys. The 2 enemies of your produce are air and fire. So what do I mean by that? The minute it's been plucked, if apple pulled off that tree, the clock is ticking, it's losing nutrition. The longer it takes to get to the store and into your mouth, it's losing nutrition every day. So that's why we want things local. If somebody picked an apple just a day ago and I'm buying it from them the next day, it's packed with nutrition. But if it got shipped from 5 states away and it's, had to get thrown on a truck and then here and it got processed, it might be a week or 2 weeks old. Now it's lower nutrition. It doesn't mean it's nutritionless. It's just lower amounts of what it's known for. And then the other thing is, look at an apple. Perfect example of air attacking it is when you slice it and then you open it and it starts browning. That it's happening right in front of your eyes, the aging process. So that's the air aspect. The other side is heat, fire. When we cook things with a high temperature, we can cook it to a point where it loses its nutritional value. That's why they say steam your vegetables. You let the hot air come up and cook it. If you put it in a pot of boiling water, it's going to lose all of its nutritional value. That's why we don't want to put our vegetables in that type of scenario. So those are your two enemies. You always want to cook on a low or medium temperature. You never want to put things up at the highest it can on your stove or anything like that. And then you want to get things close to possible as home so that it doesn't have as much air attacking it and aging it. So yeah, that's what's great is when these grocery stores partner with other local farms, you know that they're getting it quickly, they're getting it locally, and also they're getting things in season, all right? So that's another thing to think about. It's not natural for us to have watermelon in December when it's in season in the summer, but then you see watermelon here, even when we come shopping. Why is that? They're getting it from a part of the world where it is in season. So again, by the time it gets here, it's not gonna have a lot of nutritional value. We wanna eat sweet potatoes in the fall. We wanna eat watermelons in the summer. You eat in season, your food packs more of a punch. It's got more nutrients in it. So yeah, those are some things to think about when you're in the produce aisle. So we got our tortillas, we got our cheese, we got other dairy products. Let's cover them all, okay? So tortillas, again, I know, soft spot for people. Again, white or wheat, doesn't matter. What I would do is go with organic, and I would try to get the smallest one possible. Okay, when we get the big old giant one that you can wrap a Christmas present in, then those are the ones that got a lot of calories, and that's where we can get in trouble. So like this one, I would say is perfect right here. Look at that, La Tortilla Factory, I like them. Organic, small, you're gonna get the taste of the tortilla, but you're not gonna have it enough where it's gonna blow your diet, okay? Like that's where you get into these size ones, where they're just really mega big, all right? So yeah, and so right there, like 8 flour tortillas, non-GMO, unbleached flour, no bad fats, great. But you've said everything that doesn't have, but you haven't told me anything that's healthy in it. And that's why this falls into the same category as bread. Tortillas don't have any nutritional value. Again, it's a holder for all the healthy stuff we put in it, the vegetables, the meat, and all that. So what we want to do is try to get as little of that as possible and load that sucker up with veggies and healthy meats. And if you want to put a little sprinkled cheese, whatever, but as little as that as possible. We want more of the other good stuff we put in it. Okay, so then cheese, all right? Another sensitive subject. I know we love our cheese, right? So we want to pick something that's natural. Again, organic. Here's what I would get if I were going to get a block of cheese. This is an organic one. Again, their in-house brand. They have the shredded kind. Again, organics. Here's another brand I like when it comes to dairy, and that's Horizon. So if your kids want cheese sticks, this is an organic one. But again, there's an organic shredded one. Cheese falls into the category of the tortilla and bread. What is the health behind it? There's none. People are like, oh, but dairy, I heard it has protein. Not really a whole lot. Most is a serving of 4 to 6 grams of protein per serving. That's low. That's not that great. Oh, but what about the vitamins or D and the calcium? Well, they actually put a lot of that in there. It's not naturally in milk. And at the end of the day, I like this phrase that milk is calf growth juice. That is just meant to get a calf to get bigger and to grow. Why would we want to drink that or eat that? Why would we want to grow up and be big like a calf? It's meant to help them grow. We're the only species that drinks milk from another species. You don't see giraffes drinking whale milk or monkeys, drinking butterfly milk or whatever you want to say. Like, yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to give an example. Humans drink cow milk. I mean, does anybody else see the problem behind that?
I was going to say, I know a lot of countries don't, though. Like,
Yeah.
a baby, is weaned, that's it. Like,
A baby should drink.
so much milk.
Yeah.
A lot of
Oh yeah. Like a human baby needs a human mother's milk. Like our own species. We're the only species, like, a gorilla drinking, again, giraffe milk. Like, there's no other species that does that. I mean, we're conscious ones, so we kind of can make that choice. So again, there's no nutritional benefit. They have just done a crazy good marketing job of making it seem like it's healthy. I mean, heck, even my own mom would say, like, oh, your kids, why are you not giving them milk? They need to grow up. They're gonna get bones. They're not gonna be strong. And hey, they have not had a bad checkup with the doctor yet, because we make sure we get it from other sources of stuff they need, the calcium, the vitamin D, all that. So yeah, that's cheese. We got cottage cheese, a high protein option. But again, I would rather you get it from somewhere else. If you find an organic one that's high in protein and you like the taste, go for it. Again, it's a lot better than some other crappy things you can eat. And then coming on over here to the butter. Okay, so this, another sensitive subject. We want our butter, we want to put it on our food. I, number one, want to let you know that margarine should not even be a choice. Like, we do not want margarine at all. Again, it was man-made, it's processed, it's taking a bunch of chemicals and making a food, like a Twinkie, like an Oreo, nothing that's found in nature. Butter is made with one of nature's food, and that is milk. So we can have it, but again, we want to have it in limited amounts. I would want you to grab an organic one, like I see here, the Horizon, the Organics. I personally like grass-fed butter, so I like this brand, Kerrygold. So if I am going to cook with butter or put it in something, I'm going to use this brand. So yeah, that is my spiel on butter. But again, limited amounts. It is healthy fat calories when you get the healthy version, but it can do the opposite if you get the margarine or the processed butter. Those are the ones that more clog up your arteries and those types of things. So yeah. And then I guess the other thing I should share about it is that there's the trans fat in it. That's what we're really trying to avoid. We don't want trans fat in our diet. That's what you get in margarine. You're not really going to get that in healthy grass-fed butter. So yeah. So yeah, juice, like I was saying earlier, guys, when we were over in the alcohol aisle, this hits your body just like any other liquid calories. It's sugar. So I really don't recommend it. And you actually get way more sugar when you drink it in juice form than if you ate the actual fruit itself. Okay, that's why they say a cup of orange juice takes 5 oranges. Who would eat 5 oranges in one sitting? You don't. Why is that? It's because of the fiber. Fiber in apples, fiber in oranges. Those satiate you, so you only need one. But the reason you could drink 5 juices or 5 oranges worth of juice is because there's no fiber in there. So that's why, like, if you guys are doing blending versus juices, I always say blending because at least the fiber is going to stay in there, the meat of that fruit. When you juice it, you're extracting all the sugar and the meat gets kicked off to the side. You see it all getting spit out in that little container. So blending is always going to be better than juicing. I mean, of course, if you're just trying to like mix in some real harsh things like, cucumber and stuff like that, it's not going to taste so good in a blender maybe. It might be better with juice. But again, I would try to even like avoid any type of juice at all. So yeah, that's that. No matter, again, whether it's organic or whatever, it's still straight up sugar. And then we're coming here to your eggs, okay? So again, we want these types of eggs where the animals were treated humanely, they're healthier. Here's where we were talking about the creamers. So I would get one of these as my next step. Let's say I was having I don't know, like Coffee Mate, like that would be the most processed version. Then my next step will be going here to these organic ones. Again, calorie for calorie, they're identical. They probably have the same amount of sugar, but this just has cleaner ingredients. My digestion's not going to get messed up. But the next step is to pick a lower calorie option, something that's based off of, coconut milk or almond milk. I'm trying to see if they have any. You see some? Okay, there we go. Coconut milk creamer. So let me compare here. So this has 4 grams of sugar, and I think this is the one. And this, actually this has 1 gram of sugar. Oh, well, that's half and half. So maybe it's not as much pure sugar as like this one. 5 grams, okay. So why is this one 4 grams? It's not too far off. Oh, they add cane sugar. So if it was just coconut milk, it probably would be lower. Because as I say, coconut's not usually high in sugar, but they add cane sugar for flavoring. So again, sometimes it could look healthier, but though they weren't far off from Coffee Mate. Horizon? Yeah, yeah. These, and so that's kind of my spiel that I was going to go into about milk, is that even though these are organic, it still has the same amount of sugar. So we are getting a cleaner source. The cows were treated better. They're not filled with hormones, but calorie for calorie, same amount of sugar. And that's one of the reasons that I'm always trying to like avoid milk, is because it's actually kind of high in sugar. 21 grams of sugar in this. So do you want this or you want a Snickers bar? I'm going to choose a Snickers bar. Like, this doesn't taste like a treat to me. I want ice cream. I want cookies if I'm going to have 21 grams of sugar, not a little glass of milk. So that's the main reason we want to avoid milk, is it's actually very high in sugar. Um, yeah, almond milk, or yeah, your own natural little oils, or yeah, different milk. So this is what I would do instead of regular milk. I would do cashew milk, almond milk, coconut milk. They got rice milk, oat milk, hemp milk. There's plenty. I wouldn't really go with soy milk. Flax milk, that's a new one I haven't seen. But we want to still be, again, investigators, because people are like, oh man, Dustin, I got that vanilla flavored almond milk and it actually had a lot of sugar. You told me to get it. But it's like, yeah, we got to look into the flavored ones, because if you get just regular almond milk, probably like this one, it's probably only going to be 40 calories. So you're asking yourself, why did this jump up to 90? They added a bunch of sugar into it to make it taste better. So this is 16 grams of milk, 16 grams of sugar per serving. And then if I get this regular almond milk, 7. So almost a third. Protein milk? Where's that? Oh. So this one's not bad. 10 grams of protein, 2 grams of sugar. So yeah, they might have put some sort of protein, yeah, pea protein. So they put a protein, like almost like powder or protein source into it to raise the protein content. So yeah, pea protein, I'm all right with it. All right, so go for it. So yeah, that's your milks. Again, if you were gonna get any milk, this is the, I would say, the bottom choice. This is your next choice, cleaning out the ingredients, and then your best choice is getting a better alternative milk, almond, coconut, something like that. So it's like, that's how I always think about groceries, is, good, better, best type of scenario. And you're just trying to get more and more foods towards better, and then eventually to best. It takes time. You're not going to do all of them overnight. Yeah, there you go. All right, guys, last dairy product, we got our yogurts. All right, again, I know this is a good snack. People love their yogurt. We want to have a snack. Hey, Dustin, what do I eat between meals? Can I have, yogurt? So I'm going to always want, again, organic. And then the next thing I want is it to have more protein than it has sugar or carbs. So this one falls short a little bit. It's got 24 grams of protein, 29 grams of carbs. So it's 5 grams higher. So although it's organic, although it's clean, I'm not going to choose that as my number one choice. So let's try this Stonyfield one. Let's see if this has got better. So, oh man, this one's really bad. 8 grams of protein and 27 grams of carbs. So again, I know. So that's the thing, is that this I almost think of as like ice cream, where it's gonna be high in sugar and it's not gonna taste as good. So I'd rather. So this one's better. 22 grams of protein, 9 grams of sugar and carbs. So that's gonna be a better choice. But yeah, I know the Fage is a good one. Which one were you referring to?
Fat, 2%, 0% full fat.
Where's, oh, like what's the take on it? So yeah, this one, 23 grams of protein, 9 grams of carbs. So that Fage is a good one. So when it comes to fat, it don't matter about low fat, full fat, non-fat, because again, there's going to be processing involved to remove fat, because naturally Greek or yogurt has fat in it. So the fact that if they had to do anything to remove it, it's undergone processing. So we want full fat. We want it in its most natural state.
When they do the zero fat, reduced fat, they have to increase flavor with sugar?
Yeah. There's always a palate scale we have to think about, because as a food manufacturer, if you put out bland food, you're going out of business. So it's got to taste good. So if the fat goes down, almost every time the sugar is going to go up, and then the opposite. If they put sugar free, it probably has a lot of fat. Those are the things that our taste buds pick up on. So one or the other's in there. There's no food that's zero fat, zero sugar, and tastes good. That's protein powder, I guess, like just bland powder. Alrighty, yes, the carb aisle. That's what I call this, the processed carb aisle. So this is where, you know, a lot of people might have been raised with breakfast. There's everything in here, from the oatmeal to the cereals, and then even to these protein bars and breakfast bars. So let's figure out what we can have stay and what needs to go. So let's start with cereals, all right? So cereal, one thing to know about, again, little marketing tip, is that they are always trying to put stuff that attracts the kids lower, where the cartoon characters, and then the prime is going to be actually at eye level. That's the spot that all companies want to be at. You know, whatever's eye level is always the highest cost to be there. The cheapest spot to be is high up because it's more work to get. If somebody's short, they can't grab it. You know, and that's where you're going to tend to find a lot of your healthier stuff. So that's, you know, again, throughout the whole store, that comes true. But you really see it big time in the aisles here, because you see I got my Lucky Charms, my Tricks, all right there for the kids to grab. And then we see eye level, more other things, and then I mean your average, you know, typical run-of-the-mill type of cereals, and then your healthier ones, your grape nuts, your Ezekiel, it's gonna all be up top. Then even back here, you guys got your granola up high. So yeah, basically with cereal, there's none of them are good. So I'm gonna just tell you guys that right now. It doesn't matter what labels you read, all of them are 100% carbs. There's no protein, there's no healthy fat, there's no nutrition. They're all based off of corn and flour and soy and just crud that you don't need. And not only do they have a lot of carbs, most of them are anywhere from 30 to 50 grams per serving. Then we throw more carbs on it with a big sugary splash of milk. So then it's a carb bomb. It's seriously like 50 to 75 grams of carbs in one serving, and who wants to stay at one bowl? We want to go have more. So almost all cereals are garbage. It doesn't fill you up. So I would say, again, I was saying good, better, best. These are good. It's better than waking up and having French toast and a bunch of other high sugar things and pancakes, but it's not far off. Better would be to go with granola, okay? So again, very high in carbs, very high in calories, but we're getting filled up. It's got some fiber in it, all right? So we're taking a step in the right direction. But again, something that's marketed as healthy, and a lot of times you flip it over, you're surprised how much sugar, how much calories, and how little you get to eat, and you're gonna have 150 calories, okay? So this is a third cup for 120 calories. Like, that's not a lot of granola, you know? You're gonna want, yeah, I mean, the thing is, you just gotta be mindful of portions, but I could easily eat a cup of this and still be hungry, and I already have eaten 400 calories. I didn't put any milk on it or anything. So granola is super high in calories, super high in carbs. We gotta just watch our portions, be mindful of it. The best one over here is probably gonna be oatmeal, okay? So oatmeal's high in fiber. We can eat a lot of it, and it's not as high as calories as everything else. The ones to watch out for is the flavored one. I'd rather you flavor it, whatever flavor you like, do it yourself rather than the prepackaged one. So if you love apple cinnamon, slice up some apples, pour some cinnamon, not this, because they use artificial flavorings to give it that flavor. You like, you know, maple or here we go, raisin, date, and walnuts, cut up your own raisin, dates, and walnuts and throw it in there. Don't buy the prepackaged stuff. So that's the only caveat with oatmeal, is we don't want to get the sugared stuff. I would just want it like this, whole. It's cheap. You can get organic oats anywhere from 40 to 60 cents a pound. We'll buy a big sack of it that'll last us months, and it's $5 to $8. So it's a good, healthy carb. You can buy in volume, you can buy it in bulk bins, and it's not gonna break the bank, and it's got some good nutrition behind it. Again, higher in fiber, higher in protein than what you get with the cereal. So oatmeal is good, all right? We're gonna come on down this way. And now we're gonna talk about these breakfast bars, all right? So again, something that's very strongly marketed as healthy, and there's not really any nutrition in them. You know, here we go, Nutrigain, Fiber One. Again, they're saying the right word. Cascade Farms Organic. It's a bunch of organic sugar, okay? These are right there with the candy bar. They have tons of sugar and not a lot of health benefits to it, okay? So I would really recommend staying away from almost all of these. I think the only one that'd be decent is like a Nature Valley granola bar. If you're out somewhere and you want to have something healthy and not go get something bad, that's going to be a better option. But for the majority, none of them are really going to have FBBC stamp of approval on them. All right, so let's go into the bacon now. This is a big one. Oils, all right? So with cooking oils, we want to pick one that doesn't change molecularly when we get to a high temperature, and that happens with a lot of oils. There's also a lot of oils that are just not good to have in your diet. They clog up the arteries, they cause all kinds of health problems. So that's like your vegetable oil and your canola oil, all right? We want to avoid those. I didn't know oil was in vegetables when I ate them. I don't know how they extracted it out of there, but somehow they did, and it's cheap, and that's why they use it, and that's why a lot of restaurants use it, because it's very low cost. We want to go with higher quality oil. So that's going to be your coconut oil. So many health benefits in it, so many things you can do with it. That's always going to be at the top of the food chain. You got your avocado oils, you got your olive oil. It is not as good for high heat cooking. Your grapeseed oil is going to be better for that, okay? I always pick my oil based on what I'm cooking and what flavor I want to give it. If I'm having something, you know, Italian-ish, you know, maybe a pasta, maybe meatballs, I'm going to go with an olive or a grapeseed oil. If I'm doing protein pancakes that have bananas in them, you know, coconut complements that nicely. Gives it a nice coconut crust. If I'm going to do, you know, Asian food, we're going to do peanut oil, you know, to give it that flavor, that taste, you know, Asian food. I mean, that's like a middle of the road, you know, it goes good with like eggs. It goes good with meats that you would put avocado on, like chicken, things like that. So yeah, it's just like I pick my oil. We have like, you know, 3 or 4. I'll pick it based on what I'm about to make. And then that's cool because I'm getting a nice wide variety of different types of oil in my diet. I'm not just eating the same one over and over. So yeah.
Sesame seed oil?
Sesame seed oil is good for Asian food too when I'm making that. Yeah, so there's so many good ones. Don't feel like you have to stick with just one and that's it. You're gonna cook everything with it. But yeah, there are all the good ones, like I was saying earlier, are all up top. You see all that good stuff, and then what do we got down here? You know, at average level, it's kind of like the processed stuff. So we're trying to avoid all that stuff. And then, I mean, if we flip around, here's the fun stuff, the chocolate, the nuts, you know, when we're baking. Again, this comes into play when it's the birthday, the holidays, all that type of stuff. I always want to pick something that's got a higher cacao content. So this is a brand that I like, the Ghirardelli 60% cacao. Why is that important? The more cacao chocolate has, the lower in sugar it normally is going to be. Okay, so cacao, we're disconnected from food, is the tree where chocolate comes from. Sometimes like, oh, chocolate's just a magical thing sent to us. No, it comes from a plant. But the thing is, when it's highly processed, they pump it with more sugar, with more flavorings to make you love it even more. We actually can have chocolate but have it lower sugar, and then we're going to get those health benefits that you hear chocolate has, but not all the sugar that makes you gain weight. Okay, so 100% unsweetened cacao, that's great for cooking. And then, you know, when we get, I guess, over to like if we're buying chocolate, oh, here we go, they got 60%, 100%. So that's like based on the sweetness. 60%, it still tastes like chocolate. When you get to 75, 80, it's super bitter. So that's kind of my threshold. If you're cooking, you know, with things that involve a lot of sugar, we want to try to pick lower sugar content. So, you know, the coconut is great for cooking. And then when we get over here, I'll show you guys some alternatives for baking as well. Yeah. Yep. So this is another brand that I like, and you'll notice them when you see the clear bags, and that's the red Bob's Red Mill. They make all kinds of baking. You know, they have protein pancake mix. They got, you see here, different flours. But I spot them immediately because their packaging is very unique. So you can get almond flour, everything. Yeah. So this is great for, now we're going to talk about flour. White and wheat flour, again, not the best choices. We're going to want to pick something else. So even though this is organic, I'm still not going to get it because it's just, there's no nutrition in it. I'm going to pick almond flour, coconut flour. There's even one that I like to use called oat flour, where you put oatmeal in a blender and you blend it up till it becomes a flour consistency. And normally you can swap those out if you're using a recipe 1-to-1. If it calls for a cup of wheat flour, you can do a cup of oat flour and it'll taste exactly the same. But we're getting a more nutrient dense product of whatever we're making, whether it's a cake, a cookie, whatever. It's going to pack more of a nutrient dense punch to it, okay? And then your liquid sweeteners, which is I think one of the things I talked about on the printout. We can do agave, we can do liquid stevia, we can do honey. So if So if we're cooking something and it calls for a liquid sweetener, those are the ones that I would rather use. Again, good, better, best. The better is going to be your honey and your agave. Still, they're going to be full sugar. They're not. It's not that it's healthy. You can eat unlimited amounts. But best is where we pick a natural 0-calorie sweetener. That's going to be your stevia, your xylitol. I forget how to say it, erythritol or something like that. Those are going to be your better ones, and that's what you see over here. So you're not going to want to do corn syrup. It's better to do honey and agave for those types of things. Again, stevia, if you're needing a little packet of something in your coffee or tea, or if you're just sweetening something, we're going to want to get like this one, stevia in the raw. Here's an organic stevia option. And then when it's calling for brown sugars, coconut palm sugar is better because it's lower in calories and it actually hits your system a lot softer than brown sugar was. Because like I was saying earlier, when you have sugar, you get that spike, and then after you crash, well, coconut palm sugar kind of gives you a little spike, and then it comes across subtly and drops subtly. You don't got that big, oh man, I'm awake, and then like yawning, and oh man, give me another one of those. So that's kind of why we want to pay attention to using healthier sweeteners. Again, this is good if you're baking, it's a birthday, the holidays, whatever the recipe calls for, swap it out. You know, oh, you need a cup of flour, I'm going to use oat flour. Oh, you're calling for corn syrup, I'm going to use liquid stevia. Oh, you need some brown sugar, I'm going to use coconut palm sugar. You're almost hacking those recipes and making them healthier for you and everybody that's going to eat it. So, yeah. We'll keep on coming down here, guys. I know we're passing by spices, but I don't really need to give a spiel about them because they're all good. You can't go wrong with them. Here's more milk alternatives. This is all processed junk. Cake mixes and all that. So we are going to go this way. So now we're here with the canned stuff, and basically what I always like to say with canned, whether it's fruits or vegetables, although they're organic, they're probably still going to be my bottom choice. I'm always going to choose fresh first, next one would be frozen, and then the last option would be canned. Why frozen? Because they take fresh fruits or vegetables and they flash freeze it right there from when they picked it. And like I was saying earlier, the air is attacking it. Well, when you flash freeze it, you're almost like freezing it in time, and so it's going to still be pretty close to as nutritious as possible. Canned, they've processed it, they've cut it, they put it in a can, they fill it up with water and salt, which is now eating away at the nutrition in it. So even if it's organic, it's still going to not be as good as getting the fresh stuff. So again, if you're in a bind, if you're just making something quick, heck, I'm not knocking you for doing it because I do it. I'll make a chili recipe. It's a lot easier to just get black beans organic in a can and pour them into the crock pot than having to soak, you know, the dry ones overnight or anything like that. Sometimes you just got to work with what you got. But that's, you know, just a little bit about canned stuff. All right, so let's talk about rice. All right, so rice is totally okay, again, in a perfect world, post-workout, because that's when your body's ready to absorb and burn off more of those carbs. So, you know, whether you do white rice, brown rice, quinoa, they're all okay. But again, we want to try to get the better sources, and it's really inexpensive these days. I mean, you can get a big old sack of organic brown rice, and it's not a lot at all. You know, quinoa is another great, again, we were talking about plant-based protein. Quinoa is going to be a good one, but again, it's higher in carbs. The problem with, you know, a lot of plant-based diet eating is that you can go from being a vegetarian to a carbitarian because almost all the foods that have protein have carbs, and if you eat a lot of them, you're eating just as many carbs as you are protein. They don't have anything lean like a chicken is almost all protein or a protein powder per se. So although quinoa has, you know, 6 to 12 grams of protein, it's got 20 or 30 grams of of carbs. So you're eating quite a bit of carbs. So that's the thing to be mindful of if, you know, you're on that type of diet. But yeah, all these again are fine. I know like white rice tends to get like a bad name, but it hits your body the same as brown rice does, as quinoa. Quinoa just probably has a little bit more protein, which is why I think that it's getting more press and more publicity. But yeah, you definitely don't have to be afraid of rice. We just have to watch our portions. Like we always say, a cupped hand of rice, and everybody's hand is proportionate to their body and their stomach. So that's going to be the right fit for you. You know, if you just put a big old mountain of rice, oh, Dustin said rice is healthy. we can get into trouble. So yeah. We are here talking condiments, all right? So this is the hidden sugar aisle, all right? This is where a lot of sugar hides, and you might not know it, especially things like barbecue sauce, you know, salad dressings. Thank you for doing that. So like I'll look here on the back of this one. All right, 15 grams of sugar for 2 tablespoons. All right, that's taking that grass-fed, you know, burger that you make or that chicken and adding a layer of sugar on top. So we got to just be mindful. We got to just use a little bit, just enough. I'll say a dabble, like it's just enough for you to get the flavor, but not where we're just slathering it and just putting tons of it on there. Okay. So then we're coming down here to mayo. Again, something you can use. I like it a little bit better than barbecue sauce because it's almost all fat. So so definitely feel free to use mayonnaise on you know, your stuff. Then we're coming here to dressings. So yeah, we'll come on over here and we'll take a look at all these different types of dressings. So again, I'm gonna start with this brand, which ain't bad. $2.99 for a thing of organic dressing. You're always wanting to pick your clear stuff first. You know, your Italian, your vinaigrettes, your those types of dressings. The thick Thousand Island and Ranch, those are all high calories. They got a lot of fat. So we want to try to watch that because I know salads are a big thing when it comes to, you know, eating healthy, trying to watch your weight, but we got to pick the right dressing, the one that's going to, you know, help our body to burn fat. Yeah. Yeah, no, those are all fine. But again, just watch the calories and just watch the amount that you put on it. That's going to be the big thing. And then, you know, we got vinegar there. That's totally good. You know, if you're just going to do vinegar and oil, that's a totally healthy dressing. We are coming down this way. Okay, so then we got, you know, our canned thing, canned meats, our our spam, our tuna, our fish. Not really the best. Again, processed, sitting in water, sitting in oil. It's been opened up. Again, time, air, heat is killing it. So the more fresh we can get, the better. That's just the way it's always going to be. And then again, here we got stuff that's canned, pickles, olives, all that stuff. Go for it. They're finding that with fermented foods, which is like, you know, your kombucha, those types of things, they're really good for your gut. That, you know, fermented foods are really good to help you with your digestion and just your gut bacteria, putting the good bacteria in there, because that's really what's in our bodies. We're just a bunch of bacteria. So that it can kill any bad bacteria come in. It's got more strength behind it. So yeah, those are the types of things we want to have more of. So what I always find interesting here, well, we'll get to the sauce in a second. With pasta, we want to look at what it's made out of. We're going white or wheat pasta, not any nutritional benefit. I'm going to go brown rice pasta, quinoa pasta. That's a step in the right direction. The best, in my opinion, that I love is black bean pasta. And I know it's kind of freaky because when you see it, it's black noodles. So it's like, is this made out of a squid or something? But yeah, you know, they don't have it here. I've gone on Amazon. I've gone in at Sprouts. Do we got some here? Yeah, this is probably it. Oh, it's saying spaghetti. So maybe it's not. It's just colored that way. Yeah. Yes, one of the ingredients is ink. Squid ink, water, and salt. So I was just kidding about that, and someone actually did it. This is going to be made with brown rice, 4 grams of protein. I mean, it's still high in carbs. It's got 40 grams of carbs, so it's something we have to have a small amount of. And then if we take wheat, it's almost identical as far as carbs and protein go. So yeah, we just want to pick something that's going to be not filling up our bodies with a lot of gluten, the white, the wheat, those types of things, and trying to go with alternative types of pastas. So so then with sauce, it's pretty interesting. What I always find out here is that you can find an organic one that costs less than the non-organic one or equal to. So here's the organics pasta sauce, $2.99. Prego not organic, $2.99. So it's like, it's a no-brainer. Go for it. And then there's even some that are not organic and they cost more. So you'll be surprised. You can find a good deal if you look for it and you start to notice that those things are coming down in cost really, really big time. The thing with pasta sauce and ketchup and barbecue sauce is they put sugar in it to make it taste better. So you got to just be mindful of that and just read your labels. So we'll see this one's organic. And I'm not seeing any sugar. It's usually going to be in the first 3 or 4 ingredients. So it does have some sugar. It's 2 grams, but I know that's coming from the tomatoes when it's that low. If I looked on it and it had 8 or 10, I know that they probably put more in there to give it more taste and make it more palatable. So any condiment, any sauce, you can always have to have your guard up on those, because those are the biggest place to see hidden sugar. Dressings, barbecue sauce, ketchup, pasta sauce, all those places. So yeah, that is pretty much it for that. And then like soups, these stocks, these types of things, you guys can definitely use these things. If there's any boxed things that you see with the Pacific brand, that's one that I love. I always go for that. But you got your broths, your stocks, all those types of things. If you're making your own soup, this is an easy thing to do. You just throw that base in there and then chop up your vegetables, your meat, whatever, your spices, and just throw it into a crock pot. Bam, you got your own homemade soup. Way better than any canned thing you can get. A lot more nutrition. So yeah, that's all good stuff. All right, well, I'll let you guys get out of here. Maybe you're gonna go shopping, or maybe you just need to go get something to eat because you're hungry.